Why astrology is not about the stars. You may ask, how could astrology not be about the stars? The main name astrology comes from the Greek words astron, which means star, and logia, which means study, so naturally astrology should have everything to do with the stars. But let's think about nautical navigation. Sailors have used the stars to navigate the oceans since ancient times. By measuring a star's height over the horizon, it is possible to determine one's latitude, that is, how far north or south you are from the equator. Yet, no one would claim that it is the stars that propel the ships over the seas. It's the wind and sometimes currents, powers much closer to us than the stars. Astrology is an empirical system, a system based on experience and observations. Astrologers have seen, during thousands of years of study, that there is a relationship between what can be discerned above us in the sky and what takes place here on Earth. Astrology has never really claimed to know the exact power, force, or energy that connects the celestial movements with human affairs. Instead, astrologers observe, amass experiences, and from that make personality analyses and forecasts. Over the years, thousands of years, many astrological techniques and interpretations have been developed, perhaps not all of them very accurate or sound, because how can you truly know if your newly developed technique is reasonable when you don't really know what kind of power, force, or energy you are dealing with? In Sunring Astrology, we propose that the energy that leaves an imprint on us at birth, and which is used to make forecasts, is much closer to us than the stars, similar to the wind filling the sails of a ship. As we mentioned in many of our other videos, we exist in an electromagnetic world. Everything is frequencies, although we can only perceive a fraction of all the electromagnetic radiation that we are constantly exposed to. What we can easily see and observe is visible light, sound, and the spectrum that the human ears can hear and feel the warmth from the sun's infrared light. But these frequencies make up less than 1% of all electromagnetic frequencies we are surrounded by. What about the remaining 99% of frequencies? This is what we believe astrology has always observed through endless observations and documentation, the unseen forces that impact us on a psychological and spiritual level. And these forces are not from the stars, although many astrologers believe so, except from an extremely subtle background energy that can be perceived over 1,000-year-long periods that are far too long to impact a human birth chart. If not from the stars, what powers form the electromagnetic ocean around us? The major power is the Earth's magnetic field. Many people know that, for example, birds and whales navigate using the magnetic field of the Earth. But humans can also perceive this field, although not consciously. Experiments have shown that people deprived of daylight still have some order to their circadian rhythm, but those deprived also of the magnetic field from Earth develop more irregular rhythms. This shows us that the magnetic field of Earth is not constant but continuously modified by the sun, so much that our bodies can somewhat stick to the day and night cycle, although we are part of an experience, spending 2 months in a bunker. If you belong to the spiritual movement or awakening now sweeping over the world, you have likely heard of the Schumann resonance, the Earth's own heartbeat. It's an electromagnetic pulse between the Earth's surface and the upper atmosphere. You have perhaps also seen images such as this one from Disclosure News IT, which presents the daily Schumann resonance. There are many sites online describing how we are connected to and influenced by this heartbeat, and it is another example of our electromagnetic world that is permeated by forces that are not from the stars. So, just as with nautical navigation, in Sunring Astrology we believe that the stars are used as coordinates in this immense field to help us navigate it, as we cannot perceive 99% of the frequencies of the world. We have spoken about the Earth's magnetic field and heartbeat, and have also mentioned that it is constantly modified by the sun. The sun is the life-giving force of our existence, and by reason it also affects us psychologically and spiritually, just as astrology has always claimed, with the sun being the most important factor in your birth chart or horoscope. Then there is also the moon, which rules all kinds of cycles in nature and affects us on an emotional and instinctive level. Unfortunately, the moon is somewhat diminished in astrology and is often not given more attention than the planets, although when you look up in the sky, its presence is very potent. The planets also impact us, but the role is, according to us at Sunring Astrology, often exaggerated in conventional astrology. Looking up in the sky and knowing that we are influenced by electromagnetic forces, the Earth, the Sun and Moon are what we should focus on when trying to understand life, not only biologically, but also emotionally, psychologically and spiritually. This image is a very simplified version of a birth chart where the primary electromagnetic forces are represented. We see the Sun, the symbol of a little circle with a dot. We can also see the symbol of the Moon. The electromagnetic field is represented by the coordinates ascendant, medium Caeli, descendant and imum Caeli. Except for the ascendant, also these coordinates are diminished in conventional astrology, likely because medium Caeli and imum Caeli are often misplaced. We go through this in some of our other videos and on our website. Everything circles around us about one revolution every 24 hours, but the celestial bodies move at different speeds compared with the stars, which are fixed in their positions in relation to each other. This is why historically they have been called the fixed stars, unlike the planets that look like stars but change their positions. The fixed stars or firmament is the background or canvas across where everything moves. The study of these movements once led to the emergence of astrology, perhaps first to measure time, also long periods of time, which you can learn about in our video Why Are We Sown in the Age of Aquarius? Astrology is a beautiful ancient system that has used the stars as coordinates to understand our position in the all-encompassing electromagnetic field, just as sailors have used the stars as coordinates to determine their position on the wide ocean. You can continue exploring electromagnetic astrology via our website sunringastrology.com and by watching our videos. Thank you for listening.